Let's dive into our very first story of the day, and it's a big one. Joe Rogan has finally broken his silence and given fans a much-needed update on his retirement plans. The verdict? Everyone can breathe easy because he's not going anywhere anytime soon. That's right, the iconic UFC commentator has made it absolutely clear that stepping away from the microphone is not on his agenda for the foreseeable future. In fact, he went a step further and revealed that the only reason he'd even consider leaving the UFC is if his longtime friend and UFC CEO Dana White decides to step down. And here's the wild part, that's not just a casual comment, it's actually written into his contract. Rogan's relationship with the UFC has always been deeply tied to his friendship with Dana White. It was Dana himself who brought Rogan on board back in 1997, back when the UFC was struggling to gain mainstream traction. Over the years, their bond has only grown stronger, and Joe has repeatedly said that Dana's leadership is one of the main reasons he's stayed involved for so long. As long as Dana's at the helm, Rogan is fully committed to sticking around. But if Dana ever steps down, that might be the day Joe Rogan finally calls it quits on commentary. Now, while Rogan is clearly happy with his role behind the mic, he's never been shy about voicing his concerns when something rubs him the wrong way. And that's exactly what happened during the UFC 314 broadcast. Rogan didn't hold back after witnessing what he described as blatant cheating in the octagon. He was fired up after seeing repeated fence grabs and eye pokes, and made it very clear that the current system just isn't strict enough. According to him, these fouls should come with an automatic 1-point deduction, no warnings, no last chances, just instant penalties to keep things fair. But Rogan wasn't done there. In a recent podcast episode, he doubled down on his controversial takes, suggesting that MMA should go even further in pursuit of pure fighting. One of his more radical ideas? Completely removing the cage. Yup, you heard that right. Rogan believes the cage interferes with the purity of hand-to-hand combat, allowing fighters to wall walk, pin opponents, or stall. He thinks fights would look very different and potentially more exciting without it. As always, Joe Rogan isn't afraid to stir the pot and spark debate. And whether you agree or not, one thing's for sure, he'll keep the conversation going. Now let's move on to some serious drama that's been shaking up the MMA world. And it involves none other than Islam Makhachev and Balal Muhammad. During a recent episode of the Russian MMA podcast NASA TV, co-host Suleiman Najbetsky, who happens to be a close friend and insider within Islam's camp, dropped a massive bombshell that's turning heads. According to Suleiman, there's been long-standing tension within Islam's team that fans had no idea about. While the public has always seen Islam and Balal as tight-knit allies and training partners, especially given their shared faith and connection to the Dagestani fighting culture, the reality behind the scenes is reportedly much more complicated. It all began heating up after Islam's dominant performance over Renato Moano. Following that victory, both Islam and his manager began teasing a potential champion versus champion clash, with Balal Muhammad as the potential opponent. That alone sent shockwaves through the MMA world. Fans were stunned. These weren't just two fighters, they were supposed to be brothers, teammates, part of the same inner circle that preaches loyalty above all. In Dagestani culture, loyalty to your team and your brothers is sacred. Fighters from that region have long been respected for never turning on one another, so the idea of Islam calling out Balal, that looked like a serious fracture in that unbreakable bond. But Suleiman wasn't done. He dug even deeper, revealing that the tension between Islam and Balal didn't just start recently. He claims the issues have been simmering for years, long before this potential super fight was ever mentioned. In fact, he described a heated personal exchange between the two fighters that apparently changed everything. From that moment, the relationship took a nosedive. And to make things even more intense, Suleiman says he spoke directly with Khabib Nurmagomedov about the situation. And Khabib, once a friend and supporter of Balal, has now reportedly turned his back on him as well. This isn't some minor disagreement or a simple misunderstanding. According to Suleiman, this is a full-blown fallout fueled by ambition, pride, and power. Islam is looking to move up a weight class, and if Balal is holding that belt, now so be it. Friendship won't stop him. The time for brotherhood may be over, and the gloves might come off. What was once a story of unity and respect has now turned into one of rivalry, ego, and broken trust. Now let's shift the spotlight to Balal Muhammad, who recently went full savage mode on Eliia Taporia. During a fiery, no-holds-barred rant on a recent podcast appearance, the reigning welterweight champion didn't hold back when the topic of the featherweight champ came up. Taporia has been on a tear lately, trash-talking nearly everyone in the spotlight, but Balal was quick to shut it all down. Their beef isn't exactly new, but it's been slowly escalating over the past year, and things hit another level when Ilia dismissed Balal as a fake champ and boldly predicted that Balal would lose to Shavkat Rakhmonov at UFC 310. That comment struck a nerve, and Balal snapped back hard. He didn't just fire a few shots, he absolutely went in on Taporia's ambitions and persona. He mocked Elia's dream of becoming a 3-division champion, calling it delusional. Then he delivered one of his sharpest insults yet, branding Taporia the Georgian version of Colby Covington, suggesting that Ilia is all bark, no bite, and trying to build fame by running his mouth. He even accused Ilia of copying other fighters' trash talk, saying he's not original, he's just mimicking characters like Colby and Connor. And the cherry on top, Balal said Ilia suffers from Napoleon syndrome, trying to act bigger and tougher than he really is, even though a fight between the two is unlikely, and since they're separated by 2 weight classes. The verbal warfare just keeps getting hotter. Things escalated even further when Taporia took another shot at Balal during an appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast, calling him a boring fighter with no entertainment value. Naturally, Balal clapped back, this time during his interview with MMA Junkie. He didn't mince words. I think he's got little man syndrome. He's puffing his chest out, trying to act bigger than he is. He's not good at trash talking. He's not even good at talking. He's just playing a character. Balal went on to explain how the feud really started. When asked about a hypothetical Islam versus Taporia matchup, he casually said, "Islam is a lot bigger. It'd be a bad matchup for Taporia." That simple statement lit the fuse. Ilia responded by saying, "You're not a real champion, you suck." Balal's response, "Okay, if you want beef, you got it. I'm not afraid to clap back, but let's be real. You're 2 divisions below me. There's nothing that's gonna come from this. But if he wants to keep talking, we can keep going." And when asked if he thinks Taporia deserves a fight with Islam Makhachev, Balal shut that down immediately. No, he hasn't earned it. He needs to beat legit contenders, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, before even mentioning Islam's name. Next up, we've got some serious heat brewing in the heavyweight division, and it involves Tom Aspenol sending a chilling message straight to the reigning kingpin Jon Jones. The interim heavyweight champion recently posted a cryptic but undeniably threatening clip on Instagram, accompanied by the caption, "Blink and you're in danger." He didn't stop there. He added a duck emoji, which fans instantly recognized as a bold jab at Jon Jones, who has been out of action due to injury. To the untrained eye, it might seem like just another cryptic post, but to fight fans, this was a direct challenge. The duck emoji is especially telling. Aspenol has previously accused Jones of ducking him, and this post seems to be a not-so-subtle way of keeping the pressure on. The message is clear. Tom Aspenol is coming, and he's not planning to wait quietly on the sidelines. With Jon Jones still recovering from a torn pectoral muscle that forced him to withdraw from his highly anticipated title defense against Stipe Miocic, the heavyweight landscape has shifted dramatically. While Jones sits out, Aspenol has been making serious moves. He crushed Sergey Pavlovich in spectacular fashion to claim the interim title, and since then, he's made it his mission to push for a unification bout with Jones, a battle between the new breed and the old king. Aspenol represents everything the next generation of heavyweights brings to the table: speed, precision, athleticism, and fearlessness. He's young, hungry, and possesses the kind of skill set that could pose serious problems for anyone, even someone as legendary as Jon Jones. And now, with every passing day, fans are becoming more and more vocal about wanting to see this fight happen. The buzz is growing, the pressure is mounting. Despite being the interim champ, Aspenol has made it very clear he doesn't want to wait around for scraps. He wants Jon Jones, and he wants him now. The UFC has been vague about Jones's timeline for return, but one thing's certain: Aspenol isn't planning to stay quiet or play nice while he waits. He's turning up the heat, and the fans are loving every second of it. "Blink and you're in danger" isn't just a caption, it's a warning shot. Tom Aspenol is ready, and he's putting John Jones and the entire division on high alert. Then we've got Aaron Pico, who recently shared his thoughts on a potential super fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Taporia, and let's just say he didn't hold back. In a recent interview, Pico made it crystal clear he believes Islam would be way too much for Ilia. According to him, this wouldn't even be a close contest. It would be a domination. Pico, who is known for his deep fight IQ and experience inside the cage, started off by giving Islam his props, saying, "That's what a real champion does. He shows up, he delivers, and then he stays ready." He praised Islam's discipline, consistency, and ability to adapt in any situation. While he acknowledged Ilia's talent and undefeated record, Pico was quick to point out that being flashy and confident isn't enough when you're going up against someone like Makhachev. "I see holes in Taporia's game," Pico said. "He's aggressive, he's got solid striking, but Islam is too well-rounded. His pressure, grappling, and control are on a completely different level. He doesn't just beat you, he drowns you." Pico also emphasized that this wouldn't be a case of striker versus grappler. This would be a test of IQ, timing, and toughness, and in his opinion, Islam checks every box. He went on to explain how Makhachev's experience against top-tier fighters, guys like Charles Oliveira, Alexander Volkanovski, and Arman Tsarukyan, has prepared him for anything. "Ilia hasn't been tested the way Islam has," Pico said. "Not yet." Despite backing Islam, Pico made it clear he respects both fighters. "I'm a fan of both," he said. "Ilia's got heart, he's entertaining, but when we're talking about skill for skill, Islam's pressure is a nightmare matchup." He also addressed the growing hype around Ilia potentially moving up in weight. "It's one thing to dominate at featherweight," Pico explained, "but going up to face a guy like Islam, a natural lightweight who's been in the fire with killers, that's a massive leap, and I just don't think Elia's ready for that." In the end, Pico summed it up with this: "Islam is a puzzle Eliia can't solve. Not now. Maybe not ever." That's a strong statement coming from a respected voice in the fight game, and it's sure to add even more fuel to the already fiery debate over whether Taporia should even dare to step into Islam's world. And finally, we wrap things up with Israel Adesanya, who has been making some serious waves in the MMA world. On the most recent episode of Tim Welch's podcast, Adesanya shared some exciting updates that are sure to get fans talking. Izzy revealed that he's been training again with none other than Sean O'Malley and Team Welch, which is a huge deal considering the close relationship these two have built over time. But perhaps the most intriguing piece of information to come out of the interview is that Adesanya wants a rematch with Sean Strickland, and he's determined to get back to the top after his recent setback. For those who have been following Israel's career, it's clear that he's been enjoying a much-needed break from the grind of back-to-back fights. In the past, Izzy was constantly in the spotlight, headlining nearly every pay-per-view and defending his title multiple times a year. But now, he's taking some time off, focusing on getting his head right, and importantly, training smarter, not harder. After the loss to Strickland, it seems like Adesanya has taken a step back to evaluate where he went wrong and how he can come back stronger than ever. According to the team, Izzy reportedly told them he wants that Strickland rematch back. He admitted that he felt completely burnt out during that loss, citing a number of factors that contributed to the result. For one, his knee was injured going into the fight, which undoubtedly affected his performance. On top of that, Izzy wasn't mentally prepared for the challenges Strickland presented that night. Adesanya was in a tough spot mentally, and Strickland capitalized on what many considered to be Izzy's worst night inside the octagon. Interestingly, Izzy's coach mentioned that the legendary Georges St. Pierre had given him valuable advice. Don't just take fights because you can. Make sure you're hungry before you step into that octagon. This piece of advice seems to have resonated with Adesanya, who's now more motivated than ever to get back into the title mix. With Izzy reportedly hungry again, and Strickland still sitting near the top of the division, fans are already buzzing about the potential for a rematch that could be bigger and more intense than ever before. It's clear that Izzy's time off has only made him more determined to reclaim his place at the top, and a potential rematch with Strickland could be exactly what he needs to prove he's still the best. So, what do you think? Will Joe Rogan stick around until Dana White retires? Can Islam and Balal ever mend their differences? Is Taporia biting off more than he can chew by challenging Islam? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more daily MMA news.